So this is a filet mignon, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I thought so.
All right, look at this. You got this beautiful little bit of marbling right here.
Look at that beautiful cut of meat.
It's almost a perfect center cut. This is not a center cut. This is on the lower end of the spectrum. So when you have a filet mignon, let's say we have the loin right here. You got a fatter piece that goes into a skinny piece. What happens is you have your center cut right here, which is what most restaurants use. So this piece is almost a perfect centerpiece. But what happens is if my centerpiece is right here, this one's on the lower end of the spectrum. It's about right here of the actual loin, which is not a bad thing. That's why you have a little bit more marbling right here. That's where that's broken. All right. Yeah. So we have a little bit more marbling right here, and it's not a perfect little cylinder. That's how come you know it's not a center cut. Center cut is what's prized when it ever comes to restaurants. This is the most beautiful looking part of the loin, which is why it's a little bit more expensive, or why a filet is more expensive, because usually it's a center cut, which is right in the center, and it's a nice little circle, which is what restaurants want to use for presentation purposes. For me personally, and we'll discuss this a little bit more. BJ and I have actually talked about, I at least told him about me dry aging my own steak. That's something I plan on doing. What happens is I'll have him over whenever I start dry aging, I start that dry aging process, and I'll talk to the different parts about the actual filet loin. And I prefer the chain. The reason why I prefer the chain is because it's more attached to the spine. It's less used. It's actually more tender. It's probably one of the ugliest cuts of meat I've ever seen in my entire life, but it's one of the most tender and beautiful pieces I've ever seen.
And as you can see by the camera nods, I 100% agree. The chain meat is beautiful.
So I cook fillets on a daily basis whenever it comes to work or anything in life. I usually take a loin and break it down for myself. Where I get it usually costs about 60 bucks. I get anywhere from like, I want to say 10 to 14 steaks out of it, depending on how I actually break it down. And it varies from day to day, or from loin to loin. This is a beautiful, it's almost a complete perfect center cut. It's not quite there yet. It's a little bit on the skinnier side to me personally. And what I mean by that is it's not as thick as the other ones, but it's a beautiful tenderness. It smells fantastic. I thawed it out last night, today, with fillets. With the ribeye, I had it on a lower heat. With fillets, that's not the case. Fillets are a leaner cut of meat. So I'm going to use a higher temp to start off with. I've got a little bit of oil in the pan like I did before. What I'm going to do, I want to get the crust on it as fast as I can and put it in the oven. So a lot of fillets are a thicker cut. This is actually pretty skinny in comparison to some. I've seen some, I've cooked with anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9 ounce fillets. 9 ounce fillets are like 1.5 inches thick. So they take a little bit of time for them to cook, especially if they're well done. If you want a butterfly, if you order a well done steak, you f***ed up. Medium rare is perfect. And so it's the same thing with the ribeye to a degree. What I'm gonna do is a little bit of salt. By little, I mean coat the steak in salt. I like a lot of salt on it. I use kosher salt. A lot of people don't agree with me on this, but then again, those are people that don't work in the industry. You can taste the difference between iodine salt, sea salt, kosher salt. I don't care what anyone says, you can taste the difference, whether people believe that or not. I prefer
we'll have to test that.
Yeah, I prefer a coarser grain kosher salt. And the reason why I prefer a coarser grain kosher salt compared to a wine is I love salt. As much as my body hates sodium and I usually have high blood pressure, I love salt. Salt brings out an extraordinary amount of flavor, especially when it comes to meat. Well, salt and pepper this quite well. When it comes to the filet doesn't have a lot of fat. Fat means flavor. Since we don't have a whole lot of fat to it, I'm going to do something to the steak that I don't do anything other than the filet. The filet, let's say a flank steak, a flat iron, a skirt steak, those are the ones you want to add extra stuff to it to create the flavor in there. Because it doesn't have the fat, it's not as good to a degree as the other ones. So I add salt, pepper, and garlic. This is garlic powder. Of course, I still go pretty heavy on the salt. I go a little bit heavier on the pepper than I do with a ribeye, and I do the garlic for a little extra flavor. We are getting the pan hot. It's where it needs to be. We add the steak in. Like I said, we have it on higher heat because we want that sear on the steak. We want to be able to trap all the juices, all the flavor into the steak. So we have it, what do you say, over 3/4 heat?
No, we're on here. It says 8, so just like
over 3/4 heat.
Yeah, something like that.
We want it about there. We want it nice and hot because we want a beautiful crust and sear on it. Like I said, add garlic to the filet because that gives it extra flavor. And there's something else that we're going to do to the actual filet that brings it out even further.
Okay, so I missed a step. That's my bad. I was busy dealing with personal business. Sorry about that.
Absolutely true, and that's okay. Right now, these steaks in the oven, I seared it on both sides, so I'm gonna let the juices kind of stay in. Typically with the filet, what I do is I sear every single side. So I'll take it in the pan and kind of rotate a little bit. I didn't do that with this one, just because it wasn't necessarily necessary. Just what we're gonna do is after it kind of sears off in the oven a little bit, I have it at the oven at 450 degrees. I'll leave it in there for about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. What I'm gonna do is after it gets done with that, I'm gonna take this beautiful European style butter, which is rich, creamy, and gorgeous. Baste it in a little bit of butter, and I've got some sage and rosemary over here that I've already got picked. Just baste it in the sage and rosemary. After it gets done basting, put it over here, let it rest. I'll slice it thin. We're absolutely destroy it.
Oh, want to show it in the oven?
Absolutely, if you want to. Okay.
Let me zoom in. And that's the steak. It's gonna be gorgeous. All right. Let's see at the next step. All right, what's going on now?
I'm about to baste the steak. Got
Okay.
the butter in there.
So you put some of the European style butter.
Yep.
And you have herbs in there. What herbs exactly do you have in there?
I have sage and rosemary. They're
Oh, that's sage.
my favorite herbs ever.
What's the flavor like with sage? I've heard of it, but I've never tasted it.
I don't know how to describe it. I mean, rosemary is a little bit more holiday kind of, like Christmas Day. Sage is just kind of earthy. I really don't know how to describe it. Like it
smells good.
something different. Like I don't know. I really don't know. I truly don't know how to describe it. I'll take it. The sage can be kind of Christmassy, but it's not as Christmas as rosemary. Add a little bit of salt.
Yeah.
Done.
Oh, you're gonna waste that butter? Oh no, you're not gonna. Oh, so
Pull it off a little bit.
Oh, I see what you did there. Ah, that is actually really beautiful. Huh. That is actually really beautiful. And now, the all-important taste test!
That's medium. Regardless, that's medium. Okay,
Yeah.
I apologize. But then, like this piece right here, I mean, that's a good medium. That's a good medium. That's medium well.
That's medium well, yeah.
Well.
Yeah, or well.
But yeah, these are medium. I apologize for the temperature. I am
Got distracted, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. But all right, I want you to touch this. Taste it.
Oh, I just did from the outside of the steak.
What do you taste?
I taste saltiness.
Yep.
And
Beautiful.
then I also taste something else too.
It's the sage.
Yeah, and it's hard. It is hard to describe.
But-
At least
but-
right now for me.
Holiday, the holiday flavor.
feel. Yeah.
That Christmas feel. That's the rosemary kicking in. That's what you want.
Okay.
That's
Well.
that kind of like Christmassy kind of feel. That is called rosemary.
Yeah.
The other flavor that you're getting, that's the same.
All right. Oop. Let's see what your taste expectations are like first. Beautiful. All right. Time for me. Filet mignon, the sage, rosemary, butter.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even with it being overcut, because my bad. It's delicious.
No, you didn't hear it. But people watching this video definitely heard the sound of angels playing. Because Sober Me, who's editing this video, added in angel music.
Oh, dude. Even the medium well part is.
Yes, that's what I just had. It was amazing. Now for medium rare bit.
Or more or less, that's medium.
Or medium.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cooked a medium. But the thing here is, like, if you look at the cutting board, please sure to cut. This is butter. This is fat from the steak. This is salt. This is pepper. You can take this stuff, save it, and dip and soak your steak in it. It's a heart attack and a stroke waiting to happen, but it's the most beautiful, flavorful thing you've ever had in your entire life. Also, BJ and I have talked about this. Oh, good. This is, you remember me talking to you about 3 months ago about me wet aging a steak?
Yeah.
That's the steak.
Oh, nice.
That's the steak I talked about. That's why I didn't want to say anything quite yet until we actually shot this. That's the wet edge steak. So you get a lot of the herb, you get a lot of the salt, that little hint of funk. You know what I mean? I know it sounds weird, but that little hint of funk that you taste, that's from the wet aging. How was that fillet though?
Fillet was awesome.
Fillet you've ever had?
That was one of the best fillets I've ever had.
Tender.
But it was delicious.
As overcooked. It was.
As it was in some portions.
It
was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. And I attribute that to your skills, as well as, well, your skills and the knowledge to know what herbs to use. And to butter baste it. Because that's honestly the key to it, honestly.
Absolutely. So typically you want the butter to brown a little bit more, but a lot depends on what kind of butter you have. With this being a richer, creamier butter, because it's a European style butter,
European.
you don't necessarily have to let it brown as much. The flavor's there, absolutely. And you're already adding sage and rosemary to it with that extra salt at the end. It's just gorgeous. Like, a lot of people have, I know some chefs have issues with the filet because the flavor isn't there, because the fat isn't there. But that's something simple that you can do, a little sage, a little rosemary, and extra salt at the end to make the filet freaking gorgeous. It adds that extra step, something that people don't realize. That's what pushes food to the next level. It's little things like that. And that's what I'm talking about, like a good European style. Unsalted butter. Absolutely unsalted. If you use salted butter, you're messing something up. You can't control the seasoning if you use salted butter. If you use unsalted butter, you can control the seasoning of what you do. And it's that simple. Okay.
Well, you gotta end it off. This is just gonna be a recurring theme. You say cut at the end of something without ending it off. I'm gonna include it in there as a you didn't end it off, along with whatever the hell you just did. All right, so end it off. It's your show.
I don't know what to say. What do you think I should say? Oh.
I say good night,
Next.
everyone, and look forward to what we have next.
All right, guys. This steak that we're doing next has been marinating for like a week now. I'm super excited to try it out. This is going to be something very easy. It's already pre-grilled, so what happens, what I mean by that, it's already been kind of grilled off, so it's got kind of like a check mark, that diamond pattern on it. So what we're basically doing is getting a pan really, really hot, searing it off. It's been marinating, I think, for a week now. Can't really remember. So we're just gonna sear it off real quick and enjoy the flavor of it. What it is a flank steak. A lot of things with flank steak and skirt steaks, you have to marinate it.
Yeah,
Talk
because
more about that next week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you very much.